Hello, everyone. We're on the final day of this week of Neo Reality Collective news. Let's cap this off with a massive amount of news going on, especially since I already took out one big part of the news, but there's still some continuing saga with that. But we'll get to that when we can. Let's dig right into this and talk about what's going on in the world of pop culture and all that insanity and WWE being an oppressive dictator. Kairi Sane says she will continue to train and support WWE from Japan. So Kairi has announced that she will be working with WWE in Japan. Sane left in WWE back in June to move back to Japan to be with her husband, who she just married back in February before the pandemic struck after a long-term relationship. At the time of her amicable departure, it was rumored that she may continue working with WWE in a non-wrestling role, perhaps as an ambassador or trainer to up-and-coming talent. Kairi Sane did not confirm what that her role will be, but she did know that she will continue to train and support WWE from there. She wrote in this tweet, "Greetings from Japan! WWE superstar Kairi Sane here. I have moved back to Japan and will still train and support WWE from here. Flex bicep emoji." So, yeah, so she's not done with WWE. I don't know what she's doing, but if you've seen the ticker, I have a theory that this is all part of the big, NXT Japan initiative that they were trying to pull, and now it looks like it might be trying to go forward again with it. Since they need to stop Japan from New Japan from rising, even though New Japan doesn't want to work with AXS TV anymore since they're owned by Anthem, and Anthem says we'll give you back the rights if you work with Impact. And New Japan was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm out. We still don't forgive you for what you did to Okada. So no matter how much you change, fuck you." So yeah, that's essentially what New Japan Pro Wrestling just did. Uh, Honestly, it's sad Kairi Sane left. She has liked my tweets, so I have a biased favoritism. But at the same time, it's like this is someone who wanted to work with Asuka, and here's the catch: she has never worked with Asuka in any wrestling promotion, not in the ring, not a one-on-one fight, ever up until WWE happened. And I was like, man, you had a money-making dream match to do here. Never been done outside of any promotion, yet you would hear the whispers of people from all the wrestling promotions saying we gotta see these two collide, but they never collide. WWE could have had a genuine first time matchup since, well, they botched Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey, which is telling. But like, yeah. The idea that there have been independent wrestlers that have never crossed paths, even though the independent scene is very large and vast and deep in its scope, you'd be like, wait, so they never crossed paths? Never saw that coming. So, Kairi Sane, I get the feeling she's going to be the lead force of NXT Japan if that is still going on, because WWE has tried to get that initiative off the ground, but there have been several hindrances to that because New Japan is too powerful. Then they bought Noah. Then they bought Stardom. So it's kind of impossible at this point to expand NXT's brand into Japan and cripple them like they did with the NXT UK brand, because there's no big central powerhouse. It was all a bunch of British wrestling promotions working together, but there was no central powerhouse to like compete with any potential foreign invasion, so to speak, like New Japan has with all the multiple Japanese promotions. And now you got WWE coming in and knocking, and it's like, hey, can we come in? And Japan's there and saying no. So let's see where this goes. Honestly, I hope we see Kairi Sane back in the WWE ring. Just keep her away from Nia Jax. How many times do we have to keep having that match? She got injured by her 3 times in 3 matches. How do you do that? And yet she's rewarded with the women's tag champ, while Kairi Sane is written out of storylines after having an emotional promo talking about how she wants to fight Asuka for the title. Only in WWE will they'll destroy your dreams. So Karen Q, I have never heard of this person. Apparently, she had been out of action since late 2019, since July 2019, due to a broken leg injury. And it says she's getting closer to a return to WWE. She said on a tweet, "After 14 months, I did a flip today for the first time since my leg broke. It felt amazing. Got in the ring today. Wow, it felt good." So, and so yeah. And there's even some videos about her injury scare and everything. But there's been no confirmed updates about whether or not when they have an exact estimated date for her return. I didn't even know I didn't even know who she was. She signed back in 2019 in February, competed in the 2018 Mae Young Classic, losing to Xia Li in the first round. Then with she debuted in February 2019 on the 28th, and then would get injured several months later, tragically. So yeah, it must have been a tough road for her. But luckily she's going to get she's getting better and she's getting ready to get back into the ring. Let's hope nothing unfortunate happens along the way. So there's been some news that NXT is leaving Full Sail University, and I was like, really? So okay, so there were several things that came out regarding why NXT is leaving Full Sail University. WrestleLink has learned that NXT has amicably left Full Sail for the time being for several reasons. The main reason is that NXT is no longer using Full Sail students at their taping. In the past, they used students in various capacities, from camera personnel and production assistants, that were taking creative classes that were given the opportunity to shadow those in NXT to learn various aspects of the wrestling business. So at least we now know who the talents were. With NXT being a closed set with WWE personnel only, because that was a great idea, there are no plans to use Full Sail University students at this time. It was noted that Full Sail won't allow friends to attend shows on campus for the foreseeable future. Additionally, with the recent outbreaks, the university has partially reopened to in-student learning, and NXT uses some of the conference rooms in the building across from the NXT arena, and sometimes come in contact with students in passing, and those rooms are used by others when NXT is not on the campus. When the Performance Center, having undergone recent renovations since moving to the Amway Center, training has been occurring at a secondary facility just down the road. The feeling of keeping everyone close and them being the only ones using such facilities play a factor. If and when NXT decides to have live fans again, the decision will be of their own and not have to concede with Full Sail. The door is open for NXT to return to Full Sail in the future. As Noah Chole stated in a media call that there will be a unique look and feel, which he said could be game changing. So yeah, WWE NXT is now losing the biggest key identity component in the brand's arsenal, which for understandable reasons, given that there's a virus and everything, and they can't really use it for all that much. In fact, they'd be losing more money than usual with having it pay a Full Sail and no benefits made out of it, besides more pandemic crises. So it is weird to see that Full Sail will no longer have NXT for the foreseeable future because the virus is going ahead and going crazy and rampaging across the world, mostly here in the US because we have fucked up big time. But yeah, it's gonna be weird, really, really weird that NXT is not at Full Sail, even when you had the only personnel in WWE doing the crowd stuff, because that made sense. It's just strange to imagine. Wait, NXT without Full Sail NXT taping shows without Full Sail people? Like, wow, weird. So, Paige has defied the WWE machine as part of the edict recently passed that I've talked about, because if I talk about it anymore, I will go crazy after I nearly wanted to spend 20 to 30 minutes, even though I managed to compress it to 13, of me ranting and cursing up a storm that would make a naval crew blush. That, oh man, Vince, you're evil. But Paige, who according to statistics that I heard about from when I was looking at the comments section on Just Alexa's video about the whole recent edict they just passed today and all the other stuff. There's a channel out there that's been keeping tabs, and they estimate that Paige is making $1 million off of Twitch. So here's what they basically just said. Paige, you see that $1 million bounty you're getting out of that Twitch account? We kind of want that. I mean, granted, we're a multi-billion-dollar company and we have all the resources in the world, and we are pretty much financially stable for the most part. If we didn't have a virus, we wouldn't be having a minor dent. But you see, that minor dent needs to be filled because that's absolutely vital to our company's future. So, could you give us kind of the $1 million bounty you're making off of Twitch? Huh? Huh? I know you have to make money to support yourself because you can't wrestle anymore, and that's also our fault. But we're not going to help you, and we're not going to classify you as an employee. But could you give us money, please? And oh, we're also taking part of your downside guarantee as compensation for this. Yes, cool. If Paige doesn't do that, I will be sad. So Paige issued a statement on Twitter. Twitch is my place, what I built from with my wonderful fans, a place where people can go and feel some positivity and a little bit of normalcy. Fun, interactive, non-judgmental, charitable place. I'm proud of what I built with my fan base. And that's the biggest thing. She did all the work with, building up Twitch. Yeah, granted, you could make the argument, well, WWE made her a star, so to speak, but at the same time, it's yeah, Paige did use the WWE names, but at the same time, you also got to contend with this is a third party deal. She's an independent contractor. I said this: if she had it should have stopped where the whole, well, okay, so if you use your real name, that's perfectly fine. If you use our characters and our trademarks in this thing, then we deserve a little bit of a cut. Fine, that would have been the end of it. But no, no, no. Vince has to take it one step further. And to make the worsening situation even more confounding, Roderick Strong has announced that he is ending his cameo run, putting out a tweet saying it was fun while it lasted, but tomorrow morning my cameo will be gone. So get yours while you still can. So yeah, yeah. So and Ember Moon of one person who's been saying recently, a few months back, I believe, said her injury might actually be career ending. So she would need this to support herself because she built a name for herself in WWE and NXT. But no, yeah. So yeah, it's looking like more and more this is going to be more of a problem. Like, now the WWE talent is defying the rules, so they were like, okay, look, if you're not going to let me have my own thing, then I'm not going to let you get any money out of this. So Roderick Strong and Page have acted in defiance to the WWE edict. Good on them. Now, if only they could punch the living hell out of Vince for once, because I would be all for that. Uh, Sadly, that may never happen. So Fast and Furious 9 has been delayed again. And people would be wondering, oh, it's probably the COVID virus that caused it again. Like, we've been having this all year. Nope. Turns out that the reason they pushed the delay to May 28, 2021 instead of April was because not because of the virus. That would make too much sense as a precautionary measure. No, 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 no. This happened because of Bond. James Bond. Shake it, not stir. Yep, it was said that because the James Bond movie No Time to Die was coming out around that time when the original release date was, it's going to it would have probably destroyed Fast and Furious 9. So they were like, okay, we can't risk this. We can't beat James Bond, so we have to be our own. So we had to move the movie out a little bit more again. And I'm pretty sure the crew is just like, oh, damn you, James Bond. So yeah, I have never watched the Fast and Furious movies. Just yeah. So yeah, I don't really have much of a opinion on this thing, but yeah, I don't have much of an opinion on this, but yeah, Yeah, big news about the Flash. So Billy Crudup may rejoin Ezra Miller's speedster flick, The Flash movie coming out that is set to reboot the universe to a semi-level. And yeah, you're probably wondering who's Billy Crudup. Yeah, never heard of this guy. Well, you might have known him. He played a role. He's like the report says that he was going to be the father, Henry Allen, in just one scene, and yeah, it was set up for him to be, uh, the Flash's the father of Barry Allen. But there is a very particular thing I did realize when looking at his filmography. He played another character that Zack Snyder is very familiar with. Everything is preordained. Yeah, Dr. Manhattan was going to play Barry Allen's father during the first time, which is weird when you think about it. Now it's like, oh, since they're hinting that Flash is going to reboot everything, does that mean that Zack Snyder's Watchmen is going to cross with the DC universe in the film version? Which means we could get Doomsday Clock, the adaptation? Because I would be interested in that. Now, it's been said that Phil Lord and Chris Miller have declined after the multiple, chaos that happened that with the creative differences and directorial different and changes. Yeah, so Barry Allen's father there was going to be played by Dr. Manhattan's actor, but I'm thinking, imagine if they say, well, since this was back when the movie was first being produced and the Zack Snyder thing was still a go, would they change it for the upcoming Flashpoint movie adaptation where they would have Dr. Manhattan manipulate the timeline and thus we get another DC universe, which would lead to Rebirth, as it was remembered with the Justice League Rebirth movie. So yeah, expect complete and utter chaos when that movie comes out, probably. Randy Pitchford, oh god, this guy, is saying that this console generation is a profound leap from the last one. Randy Pitchford. Yeah, I'm not gonna dig into that rabbit hole because that would be a disaster. Oh my god! So 1 year later, Borderlands 3 may have more surprises in store for players. That's to be expected in this game that's still popular, despite the controversy that surrounded it before its release. So, John Cena and Idris Elba are teaming up once more. The Suicide Squad co-stars are teaming up for the new Amazon series heads of state. So, yeah, I don't know what this show is about, but yeah, this will be a film apparently. So it's a 90s style two-hander high octane premise that has a bit of Air Force One meets Hobbs and Shaw, bringing together an odd couple in a high-stakes situation. So we're gonna have Roman Reigns in this, right? Because then Vince will be scared. So yeah, the movie is the result of a collaboration between Harrison Curie, Three Musketeers War Party writer, and producers Peter Saverin and John Richter. Also, so yeah, yeah, so yeah, Idris Elba and John Cena are gonna once again raise hell probably in this movie together. So that's gonna be fun. Baldur's Gate 3's cross saves will be supported with new Larian account. The new service will ensure you can migrate your saves across platforms, even ones that Larian hasn't announced yet. The new Larian account is a means for Larian studios to control saves in the cloud on the platform that it owns, meaning you'll be able to transfer your saves between Baldur's Gate 3 purchases on Steam, GOG, and Google Stadia. Does anyone even use Stadia? I kind of keep forgetting about it, and I've been talking about it several times on this show. Larian says that this account will be used to support save transfers on any other platforms Baldur's Gate 3 launches on, although none have been announced yet. So, yeah, it's set to launch in the near future, but Your Valerian account will enable cross-platform multiplayer. The Valerian says this won't be available on the day of Baldur's Gate 3's launch. Any Twitch integration with Baldur's Gate 3 will be supported through this new account, which allows you to let your audience make crucial in-game decisions while you're streaming. Okay, that's pretty cool. Valerian's Studios has offered cross-save compatibility in the past, specifically with Divinity Original Sin 2 across PC and Nintendo Switch. These saves were made compatible through Steam, however, limiting the control the studio had on them. This new account service is still new and growing, but Valerian says it hopes fans will help them guide its development as similar to the feedback it hopes to get with Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 launches in early access on PC and Stadia on October 6th. The game will initially offer the game's first act, which Valerian says is larger than the act of Divinity Original Sin 2 launched and feature a wide range of races and classes from the start. So I'm glad they're at least still giving people that option that they don't have to start from scratch. That's been something I've been liking for a long time. So yeah. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun that they're doing this more and more nowadays. This is a piece of news that I heard, and I was like, how does that work? Xbox Series X will let you uninstall parts of games to free up storage space. How does that work? So, the new storage management feature is coming to Xbox Series S as well. And Xbox Director Program Management Jason Ronald explained in the latest Xbox podcast, that it's an optional feature which developers will be able to opt into. Improvements like this should help make that 1 terabyte built-in storage go a lot further. And this is what Ronald explained. Even beyond the hardware, we've actually made users interface improvements to make it easier for you to manage your storage. I have no idea why I'm talking like that. I just randomly did that. As an example, one of the new features we're adding is actually for if a channel chooses to support it, the ability to selectively uninstall different components of the game. Let's say you play a campaign as an example, then you want to focus exclusively on multiplayer. If the developer chooses to support it, you can actually uninstall the campaign itself so that you can be more in control of how you're actually using your storage. So you really get the most benefit out of the available storage that you have. Why wasn't this in the Xbox One series? I mean, you like Master Chief Collection, for instance, you could take out Halos 1 or 2 or 3 and even choose multiplayer or campaign. Why wasn't this in Halo's Master Chief? Why wasn't this expanded in this generation we're in? I don't know. And since this is a developer case by case thing, that might not happen as much because it just might not, because you spend so much hours upon hours developing stuff, and they were like, wait, so we could just turn off the campaign? We might as well just make everything Black Ops 4 for Call of Duty especially, and we don't want that because at least the campaign has some merits to it most of the time. Except Ghost, I am still, while impressed that they went with the villain surviving instead of dying, the way he survived is virtually impossible. Like, even if he was a super soldier, like, unless he was a super soldier, which, as far as I can tell, he was just a abnormal soldier who went through psychological torture, and yet he could get shot in the chest, get expiciate, be thrown through metal bars, get stabbed a couple of times, and then somehow have enough strength to carry a person by their feet. Wait, what? Anyways, moving on from that debacle that was Ghost. Talking dogs as the most important feature. So yeah, I'm like, I'll be all for this, but like, it's just weird to me, but hopefully it becomes common. Like I want to see this. I want to see this be implemented with a lot of games. Hopefully Microsoft does it more as well. Um, so Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison. Oh boy. the most borderline craziest comic book creator since probably Alan Moore, for most part, except Grant Morrison didn't try to herald the end of days through comics. Grant Morrison says he was kidnapped by aliens and then experimented on through multi-dimensional physics that our apparent feeble minds cannot comprehend. We're complex. So he had plans for a Batman Arkham Asylum sequel book, which is part of a series of hardcore stories they made. So this is from 1989's book run, with an aim to be the best Batman's book ever. Originally announced back in 2017, they had a sequel for it, which would have Damian Wayne stepping up to become the next Batman, because I believe it was said this Grant Morrison, who brought Damian Wayne into the DCU, said that in his interpretation of how Batman's era ends, Damian Wayne steps up to the mantle. And I'm kind of wondering if he's happy with what DC did to Damian recently. Anyways, so the sequel has been shelved for now for the foreseeable future because he's apparently too busy with TV projects. So his insanity is going on to the medium screen. So this is what he told Tech Radar Samuel Roberts. I kind of wrote 26 pages of it, and it got shelved because the television work was taking up so much time. But again, I never say never, because I think those 26 pages were pretty good. They had recently reunited for a short story in Detective Comics 1027 anthology, and the writer admits it did rekindle the idea of finishing Arkham Asylum 2 one day. It gives me that taste again, because he was going to draw the second Arkham Asylum 2. But no, I had a story. It's very, very, very different from the original book. It was more of a Philip K. Dick thing. It's still there. It's still one of these things that may happen one day. So, yeah. Grant Morrison, he's currently, yeah. And yeah, plus you, so, yeah. I wonder how he feels regarding how Damian Wayne has been used in DC lately, since Alfred was killed off and Damian went on a murder spree. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not happy. Man, he's crazy sometimes, that guy, but he's a great writer, in my opinion. Like, I've read some of his big stories. I'm even rereading Final Crisis and everything and all that nonsense. Solarian has also broke down Baldur's Gate's vast character creation options and skills. There's over 150 character heads to choose from, to say the least. So he wrote an extensive blog. Larian wrote an extensive blog detailing all the factors that will go into creating your very own character. Firstly, you'll begin assigning a total of 6 points into various abilities, including strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. Ladies. Next, you'll determine your starting skills. This dictates what skill you're going to be overly proficient in throughout the game, the likes of which include acrobatics, deception, and stealth. Then there's your character's appearance, where Larian has really put some extensive work into. There's a total of 16 races, sub-races in the game, with 150 heads to pick from, each of whom have been meticulously scanned 3D into the game. In early access period, which launches on October 6th, there's only 8 races available to choose from. These include human, elf, Dao, half-elf, dwarf, halfling, and tiefling, and I can't pronounce this other name, so I'm not going to try. Each of which have sub-races such as, I can't even pronounce those, so I'm not going to try. So, yeah, that's pretty insane that they're going all out with this game. Baldur's Gate 3, everybody. Get hyped. King in Black, the upcoming Marvel event comic that is essentially the continuing saga of We've Run Out of Ideas, where it's going to reveal that there will be temporary tattoos for the coming Marvel event. So, yeah. So Jason Aaron got a real tattoo for the War of the Realms event, and for Marvel's upcoming King in Black event, they are encouraging fans to get tattoos. Well, temporary tattoos. Marvel is sending out 25-pack bundles of temporary tattoos to retailers, with every comic book store guaranteed to receive at least one bundle, with an additional one through in for every 25 copies in the main King of Black #1 cover they order. For fans who, for some reason, might want an entire bundle to themselves, Marvel is selling them for $10 retailer per bundle. If you buy a whole bundle and put them in on your body, make sure to send Newsarama a picture, it says. In any case, this goes for you as well. They haven't shared what the image tattoos look like, but this is part of the big event that Donny Cates is doing, and part of the whole we gotta end Empire and have it make way for the next big event that's coming out in December, because we're running out of creative ideas, except Hickman. So, yeah. Marvel, once the House of Ideas, is now the House of Events. Roald Dahl's The Witches debates a new trailer and has a release date on HBO Max. So this is based on the 1983 novel by the children's author Roald Dahl, who also penned the famous Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, among many more adapted books, the former being twice. So it just stars Anne Hathaway as the Grand High Witch, Bruno as its kid protagonist, with narration from Chris Rock as his grown-up counterpart, and Octavia Spencer as the protective grandmother. So it's been stated that it is coming to HBO Max, which is set to launch, which will come out on October 22nd. Woo! So we get big content. Part of the streaming wars, more so than ever now that the pandemic has changed Hollywood plans. So I'm excited. I'm curious to know where this goes, but we'll see. So the Outriders, another upcoming looter shooter game, may no longer be releasing on the PS5, even Xbox Series X within the launch window, according to the Steam page, because it's listing a 2021 release date for February. No. And it was rumored that they were trying to go for a window for December 2020 at the least, but yeah, they're waiting for clarifications on this. It's on Games Radar, but yeah, sucks for them. The looter shooter RPG Outriders. So yeah, I'm pretty sure those consoles lost some interesting routes. I don't know much about this game, but it still lists the holiday 2020 release date, and they have been quiet about it. But they've gotten concrete release dates for other games like Godfall, Miles Morales, and all that. So we'll have to see where if there will be an official delay announcement or Steam is just fooling around. George Genty takes over Marvel's upcoming U.S. Agent series. So this is part of a new set of comics and whatnot. Former Buffy the Vampire Slayer artist George Genty is taking over art duties from the upcoming U.S. Agent Limited series. So, since I don't really deep myself in Marvel lore comic stuff outside beyond just the Hickman stuff, so I'm probably screwed on that. So I don't know much about this, but this is set to be a 5-issue series coming ahead with Marvel's Cinematic Universe debuts with the character debating in the Cinematic Universe version of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So interesting. Looks like they're trying to push for his character, getting a character push, so to speak, in order to promote the TV series. So look forward to that. Fall Guys second season has a release date, and Double Fame starts on Monday. So it's set to second season has been revealed, and it's only 2 days later than people expected. It's set to launch on the 8th of October. Season 1 will end as Season 2 begins, and they're going to double fame points during this time. So Season 2 will bring in new levels and costumes from a medieval fantasy theme. While isn't explicitly themed around Halloween, surprisingly, it's going to outlast Halloween and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't play Fall Guys or Among Us, so I don't know what the big hype has been about them, but I'll probably be wrong about it one day. Silent Hill 4 The Room. Oh my god, Tommy Wiseau! Oh wait, no, there's a Silent Hill the game. Oh, anyways, gets a surprise PC re-release on GOG. My god. Tommy Wiseau directed this, didn't he? Because that would be a real horror. So yeah, it was surprisingly announced out of nowhere. Yeah, no heads up. They just said, "Oh, we're about to do this thing, so look forward to that." So I've never played much of the Silent Hill games. I think I did when I was like, and call me insane. I don't really remember this, but this is a best guess. I think I was 10 when I first played Silent Hill, and I just stopped because I just wasn't interested. Yeah, I have no life. Anyways, let's move on. So Maggie's Walking Dead actor has big ideas for the show's endgame. So The Walking Dead isn't long for this world as the series ends on 2022 with a 24 part 11th series season. And a lot of people, and the person who is returning, and the actress Laura Cohan, who is returning as Maggie in season 11, recently spoke to Games Radar Plus and other reporters during a roundtable interview on being asked how she liked both the stories, both her character and the show to end. And she gave a compelling answer for those looking for fan favorite returns or even a mirror of Robert Kirkman's comic book conclusion. She said, "There's so many ways that it could go, and maybe I just don't really think it's over. I can't foresee the end. If we're just dreaming, I would love to see Rick come back. That's how I love to end it. I'd love to see him land in a helicopter and Michonne be with him." So, yeah. So, yeah, this was part of the whole. So, like, Rick departed the show after the ninth season and is set to appear in the trilogy of Walking Dead movies. He's and on Maggie's final fate, she decided was decidedly more comprehensive, with her personal dream being equally as hopeful. It would be really, really fun if we got to do a 40-year time jump. You sort of peel back and start on a close up with some elderly hands, and it takes a minute to figure out who those are. Once you realize whose they are, or where they are, and where the world is now, and what that means, and who's with her, maybe it's her final days, maybe she doesn't die by a zombie. That's an idea. So, yeah, considering how Walking Dead, the comic series, was originally going to end, initially be a very, very, very tragic ending, which was ultimately stopped because he didn't want to do that. And then it just sort of stopped at this happy note after Rick Grimes' murder. I still don't get that, but yeah. To this day, I'm still confused by that. Microsoft's flight simulator developer Aspro is reportedly working with Microsoft on a new project, a new game for Focus Home. In an interview, which was translated by Mad Infinite, the CEO, Sebastian Walsh, reveals the studio is working on two new projects. One of these projects is for publisher Focus Home, while the other is for Microsoft. So there's zero information with this about what this new project between Aspro and Microsoft could be. Aspro has their hands relatively full with a commitment to Flight Simulator for a decade, as well as a new game with publisher Focus Home. In addition to the second project with Microsoft, that's a lot of projects on not go at once, apparently. They also worked on A Plague Tale Innocence with Focus Home, doing a really positive reception and all that. So, so yeah, and like the company that made this flight simulator pledged a decade of support for this, and I'm just like, we're gonna get a train simulator route? Because that was okay. Remember the train simulator and all its DLC? Like, me and my friend found this out a few years back, and we're like, over $1,000, man. And the only ones that beat it out are essentially dead or alive. Henry Cavill saying it's going to be even better. So this is what Henry Cavill said regarding this Justice League Snyder cut, saying he's really excited to see Snyder's vision fully realized. He got to be the train. I think it's only fair that the train gets to reach a station, which he was aiming for. I think it's important that the vision is realized, whether you agree with it or not. It doesn't matter. He told Happy Sad Confused podcast. It's a storyteller. It's the filmmaker's right to have that vision realized. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see what the vision was and how it looks. Zach's got the advantage of hindsight now. It's going to be even better. I just want to see a good movie or a series of movies. Okay. So I was like, so wait, they're only doing a week. Uh, so like there's only a week of additional footage. So like, how would they get more content, especially since it's apparent $70 million to complete the movie, which is a big price tag. And I still wonder why they're calling it Justice League the Director's Cut. They could call it the Snyder Cut. That's more profitable since you would have the name the Snyder Cut involved, which has been turned into a fan marketability. So remember how Steve from Minecraft is joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? When people were asking about this, Kaplan, the former production director of Minecraft Emotion, took to Twitter yesterday shortly after the announcement. Steve and Alex from Minecraft were revealed to be joining, with some playing a guessing game as to when the discussion started about the collaboration. Kaplan revealed at least 5 years. 5 years. That Minecraft and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate were talking for 5 years saying, can we do this? You mean in a world where we have awesome characters like Sora, Spartan? In fact, why couldn't they get, like, I played Minecraft story mode. Why not do that? Why not bring those characters back? You know, Petra, Jesse, all those guys. Like, wouldn't that make more sense if they're more, relatable and not overly nostalgic? But like, yeah, Steve, Alex, Zombie, and Enderman all joining joining this Ultimate Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Universe. So Twitter experienced outages around the world, which was probably coincidental, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But like, 5 years to say, hey, can we get Steve in here? We want to get Steve. Like, I at least would get if you got Jesse's and make him customizable, just like the the Minecraft story mode game was to some extent, and bring back some of the cast members for this event for the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I would love that. I mean, like, we'll probably never see them again because Telltale Games went under. Then they got a new developer taking on the name and everything, and yada yada yada, and blah, 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 blah. So Tony Flame of the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War beta, lead gameplay systems developer, went to Twitter and said the Black Ops Cold War beta is quite an upgrade over the alpha. So the beta surpasses the alpha. So does that mean it's the alpha now? I don't think anyone quite realizes what this team can do in a short amount of time. From new features to the core feel, nearly everything has taken leaps forward. My favorite part, though, the new lobby music kicks it. And in a follow-up tweet, Flame confirmed that those who already downloaded the alpha file can delete this file. Well, since the upcoming beta won't be updating the previous alpha file on PS4 stuff. So it ran for 48 hours, the alpha version, and now they got the beta coming out. So are we gonna get an Omega next? Okay. So it seems that even though Witcher Season 2 hasn't started yet, it looks like it's probably going to get a third season. Radiant Intelligence spotted the Witcher page on the Witcher's Guild of America West directories now as a reference to Season 3 with showrunner and creator, I'm not pronouncing his name, attached as executive producer, which, yeah, they've spoiled I have a lot of stuff, it seems. Bad all around. So we're probably gonna get a Witcher Season 3. So look forward to that, everyone. Henry Cavill back as the main character. That's probably gonna be fun. Stranger Things Season 4 confirms return to filming with a brand new behind the scenes photo. So they start filming earlier this year, all the way back to those blissfully ignorant months of February. We were trailer debating that Harper survived in Russia and is with a shaved haircut in Russia and whatnot. But like, They have announced that filming has begun once again, and the shared behind the scene image of a clapperboard and a very dark, foreboding grandfather clock. No, Dr. Manhattan is clearly the cause of this. Clocks is the doctor's calling card. So look forward to that. No idea when the release date will be, but probably will be for a while. So we're gonna have to wait and see. One more piece of news: DC Future State, the upcoming event comic, part of the Generation series that basically, you know, broke the DC timeline again before it actually was fixed. They have announced that this wants the readers to know this. There will not be a reboot. So, yeah, and so they had to clarify that yes, this will not be a reboot. Oop. So, yeah. DC as a publisher may like to keep their publishing plans close to the vest, but the longtime readers and observers know they'll also love to foreshadow their plans in seemingly innocuous and often seemingly unrelated but very deliberate installments. So basically, DC likes to reveal stuff what's coming up in a layaway. Publisher and CCO Jim Lee recently made a news payment in his fans Q&A during a part 2 of Fandom. Lee chose a question and answered it in a very way to make it very clear in the so-called reboot that was seemingly to be the culmination of the original incarnation of the Generations. A fixation of the industry rumor mill earlier this year was not going to happen, so the reboot was canceled. But what we already know. So Death Metal ends in January 5th, directly into the 80-page Generation Shadow number 1. And part of the continuing details is that, well, there's been no upcoming details on this, but according to Games Radar, according to the Games Radar thing, they says what it means by observing Lee's promise not to reboot. All the core DC titles will be suspended temporarily, mind you, in January and February for 2 months of the future slate and limited series and specials, a la the conceit of Marvel's Age of Apocalypse or DC's own DC 1 Million event, which hasn't happened in a while. I think the last time we got a DC pause, so to speak, was during the New 52 Futures End series, and then before that it was Hickman's Secret Wars, and then Marvel broke that promise and Hickman left. But yeah, so there's a possibility that it looks like DC will be like a Future State might be a potentially weekly or or just a couple of issues with several weeks of specials, which could be a multi-purpose, repurposed 5G-ish premise shrunk down to a 2-month illusion of change style event without a long tail. Also, it's going to be very interesting where this goes. I'm interested to see where they go with this, especially since it's not going to change the universe in a randomly fundamental way, but we'll see where this goes. Especially if this revolves around breaking time again. So, those were about it. So, that was it. That was it for this week's worth of news on the Neo Reality Collective podcast, Pop Culture News Talk. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the team for more, and stay safe out there.